I'm really delighted to be introducing Dominic Wilcox, who is our next speaker. Dominic works across the worlds of art, design, craft and technology to create innovative, thought-provoking objects and ideas that inspire, surprise and delight. His diverse work includes miniature sculptures on watches, golden skimming stones and a stained glass car of the future recently shown at London's Science Museum. He is also on a mission to inspire children to become the creative thinkers and inventors of the future with his Little Inventors organisation that turns children's ideas into reality. Designer Thomas Heatherwick described Dominic's work as serious challenges to the real world to keep looking at itself with innocent eyes, wondering what else is possible. I mean, you can't get higher praise than that. I am very, very delighted to welcome Dominic to the stage. Over to you. Thank you, Dominic.
Hello. I've got a lot of slides, I've realised, and it's been a while since I've talked, so I'm just going to talk quite quickly, and we'll see where we get. I've put a timer on to remind myself. I thought that was a great talk. It's brilliant. It's wonderful to... I'm always interested in how people start and find their way of communicating themselves through a visual technique or method. And when I was at school, I really I enjoyed art, but it was very the teacher would ask us to bring a glass or a cuddly toy and a book and a candle and to do a still life, and I enjoyed doing that, and I would have kept on doing that for the rest of my life. That sort of, as a hobby or something. My dad wanted me to get a job at Nissan, the car company that had opened in Sunderland, because I'm from the northeast of England. And I said, no, Dad, I quite like art, painting. And so I went on to Sunderland University Art and Design Foundation course, where you do 1 year and a bit of everything. And on the graphic section, 3 months, there was a contemporary artist called Charlie Holmes who was teaching on this graphic section, and he was very much interested in ideas. And so he set really interesting little challenges to us, our little group of 10 people. And I recently found this one in my dad's loft, which I think is the first work that I did at the university under Charlie Holmes. Which really was completely different to what I'd done at school. It was about ideas and using my imagination to come up with an idea and communicate it visually. And the challenge was, I can't remember exactly, but it was something like draw a line and give it a personality or make it creative. And so I did the line that took a deep breath and a line that coughed. And I did a various series of these lines. And I really think this, just one project sort of flicked a switch in my head as to something that I enjoyed doing. People laughed when I showed them in the little group. And I was a very shy person. And I think what's great about this type of stuff is that you can communicate yourself without speaking. He said as he's speaking to people, but nonetheless. So that sort of like opened a door in my head that I didn't know was there. And through Charlie Holmes, that teacher, and I've made contact with him again to say thank you, and we keep in touch. I've been going down this path ever since. So I started to draw in sketchbooks, some ideas just about observing everyday life. This is a cost-saving 5-plank fence. The sensor detects the position of the person and moves the fence accordingly. These are slides for falling leaves. I just thought at the end of their life, to give them a little hurrah, a little bit of enjoyment. It's quite a good way of coming up with ideas, thinking of inanimate objects as people, and what type of personality has this table got. And this is side signage rings to bring more attention to your engagement room. Anyway, so I did that the sort of foundation course, and that got me doing sketches. Then I went to Edinburgh College of Art and did graphic design, visual communication. I didn't quite know what graphic design was. I thought it was a bit like art, which you got paid a monthly wage. And but I went there, did the graphic design, which turned into visual communication. I never really worked out graphic design. No one sat me down and taught me the basics of it. But I quite like the sort of witty ideas that would come in, you know, that you could communicate in graphics. I then did a postgraduate because I really liked just being at university because it's so free. It's the happiest time of your life in many ways, no responsibility and all of that. And I decided to make some of my drawings into real things. So this one was a bed, and I think the idea was when I'm asleep, I don't really need the rest of the mattress. I had this thing in my head, I don't know where it was coming from the shape of things. So I did a bird cage. You open it up, put your bird in there. And this is where I knocked on the door of the jewellery department and showed the drawing, and the teacher sat me down and gave me some copper wire, and I took a month or whatever to do that. So this is me. That was the first sort of getting into making ideas. This is a toothbrush carriage case, an aluminium, which again it was just going to the metalworking and doing that. Anyway, I left there, went to Japan, taught English. Wasn't inspired at all. But people always think about Japan being inspiring. It is an inspiring, amazing place. But I was a bit like, had culture shock a little bit, so I was on the defence. And that makes me realise that being creative, you need to be relaxed and open. And I was a shy boy, young man then. But I really enjoyed Japan, but I just wasn't creative, and I sort of was drifting. So I was thinking, where do I fit it? I don't know what job that is that I'm onto, and I didn't know where I fitted in. Is it fine art? Is it design? Or what is it? Moved to London after. There's a book called A Smile in the Mind, which is a famous book, witty graphic design, and one of the writers called David Stewart, he was the founder of The Partners, which was a big famous graphics company, and so I applied there to get to see if that was the place for me, and I did a 3-month period there. It's like on trial. You're sort of on trial, and to move you into the system of junior designer, etc. And I quite enjoyed it. Just because we were coming here, I was thinking, what graphic design stuff have I actually got, or typography, which, I'm not a graphic designer or a typographer, but they did ask us all as a group to go into a room to think of a logo for the Association of Photographers, which is in London. There's a big association for photographers. And coincidentally, my idea did get picked for this logo. And I just checked last night, and it's still their logo. It's this one, it's the AOP. So I suppose it's an example of how having a sort of idea can be applied to a graphic word or letters in a very simple way to make something, like this. So the cropping of the photograph, a very simple idea. I later did, this is another graphics thing I was sort of thinking about showing. These are cod liver oil tablets, so a healthy one a day. And I made that. Where did I make that? I think I made that actually at Edinburgh College of Art. Another graphic design thing I've got is, these are anti-theft rust stickers for your car or bike to stop thieves pinching your bike and car. So when I came to London, so I went there. Then I went after these partners. I saw a documentary about the Royal College of Art. This is about 2000 or 99, and there was an artist on a course called Design Products, and I thought, oh, that's interesting, and he was coming up with, it was very ideas-based, and I thought, I'll apply to that. I got onto that course, so I left the partners, went into the Royal College of Art, and that opened another door of a way of thinking, which is coming up with ideas through experimenting with materials, which is not something I'd done. I'd been working in sketchbooks, which is very like mental, obviously, and you're drawing, and you can come up with the happy accidents, and then that can give you ideas, and that's true. But another way of doing it, when you go into sort of objects world, is you can mess around with materials, looking for ideas by joining this material to that material, or this object to that object, and it sort of triggers a thought. You can do that. So that's what I sort of took from the Royal College. One of the, I got a group. There was a group challenge for a gallery in London, KK Outlet it's called, and the challenge was to take an everyday object and turn it into an object that has another use without adding to that object. So you had to manipulate the object. And when you get briefs that you can do 1,000,001 things, all the objects in the world, is very difficult actually. So I sort of make the decision of going to a shop and choosing an object. And so I chose I found some nice paintbrushes, and I thought they look like a good starting point. They look nice. What could I do with them? So I started messing around with glue, like a resin, playing with the hair of the brush, the bristles, and then I made these little coat hangers, little coat hooks. I had a blog. I started a blog called variationsonnormal.com, and I put up my drawings, quite regularly, and would also just make some things and put them on this blog. And I remember I got into a bit of a creative rut, like a block. I'd been doing drawings, but I'd stopped making, and I felt a bit blocked. So I sort of forced myself into a situation to be creative, and I started this project, called Speed Creating, which was to make one creative thing every day for 30 days in a row, and then photograph it or video it and put it on my blog in order to push myself out of my block and to give myself a deadline. I think deadlines are really good because I procrastinate a lot, and procrastinating is basically putting off decisions in what you're making or doing. This was day 5. I put a light bulb in some bread dough and wondered what that would happen if I put it in the oven. It gives a lovely volcanic glow and a lovely aroma when you switch on the lights. I was like in the bathroom, sort of quickly trying to find ideas, so I sort of copied the shadow in the bathroom when I put the light on in the hallway. I wasn't doing much exercise at the time, but I was doing a lot of work on the laptop. So I sort of created these elasticated arm limiters. I was getting hungrier and hungrier as the project went on because I wasn't having time to eat. I was waking up at 6 in the morning or whatever, thinking of what idea, because there was more and more people watching this project online. And so I started to make things out of food, so I could eat and make with them. I got these little onion rings, like in a crisp packet, and I made a fabric like that. That photograph then got in Vogue Italian website magazine. I remember I went to 4D Model Shop, which is a great model shop in London, and I was just basically going to shops, particularly pound shops, looking for objects on the wall, trying to think of an idea while I'm in the shop, where I could connect this. And I was in the model shop, and I thought, what would happen if I got a watch and I broke the glass, and I put a bit of clay on the hands of a watch, and would it still go around on the second hand? And so I tested that like this, tested that and it worked. So I saved that idea for later. So this idea came out of this sort of like crazy process into these watch sculptures. It's an elderly roller skater with small child weightlifting and monkey on head. This is a young girl wrestling with a butcher. Yeah. Yeah. I sometimes think he's going to shake hands, but no. This is Sebastian, who's my nephew in New Zealand, and I wanted to do a project about value and what is valuable. Obviously, there's material things you can buy which are valuable, but things like time can be valuable, and anticipation, that feeling you get of anticipation, has a value, sometimes more than the actual thing that happens. And so anyway, I collected some skimming stones, about 20 skimming stones that I thought would be good ones, and I collected them, and I took them back to the studio, and I turned them into luxury skimming stones. So I 24-carat gold leafed each of the stones, and then got these little belt pouches made in the shape of each of the stones, so you could carry them around waiting. In fact, that made me think of a little story of a guy who's carried around his golden skimming stone for 24 years, 3 months, one day, and then suddenly he's in front of the perfect lake. It's like a mirror, and his heart races because he knows that this is the moment to let go. And he takes his golden skimming stone out of his pocket, and his hand's shaking. And he's thinking, what if it just plops? Anyway, I stopped the story there. But it's up to the audience to extrapolate. I told that story at a conference like this called Do Lectures, and there was some Do Books publishers, and they listened to that story and they said, do you want to make that into a book? And so then it became a book, The Skimming Stone. So that story's sort of in the book, and also Claire Mallison, who is here just in the audience, she did the illustrations. I sometimes get inspiration from the past. So this is Durham Cathedral. And I was looking at the elaborate stained glass windows, and you have to sort of have like a third eye when you're trying to be creative, to be on the lookout for ideas while you're going about everyday things. So I was with my family in the church, in the cathedral, thinking, oh, they're amazing, but why don't we see them in modern design? Or what about doing something in 3 dimensions? Then about 2 years later, I got a brief from Mini and Design, which is this, it's a big design website, to come up with my vision of the future of transport. And so I thought, this is my moment. So I thought about a stained glass, because it was Mini, the original Mini came out in 1959. I thought about the year 2059, so 100 years in the future, what would be their transport? And I'm saying it'll be driverless cars with no steering wheel. You just tell the car where you want to go, and they'll be super safe. The cars will know where you are, and they'll know where each other is, and there'll be no collisions. And so we could make cars out of any material. So I'm pushing this with a sleeper car. So you just go to bed, tell the car where you want to go, and covered in stained glass. So I took that, worked with Middlesex University Product Design, who helped create this framework for the car, and then took that to a stained glass workshop, and then turned that into this stained glass driverless sleeper car of the future. That is actually a single bed, and it's quite a small car, but it was shown at the Design Museum previously, just to show you. And
did you sleep in it?
I cleaned it from the inside, and it's very hot. I forgot the air conditioning. The Lost and Found Office of Oddities. This is a project I got commissioned to do a research project for the Hull 2017 City of Culture. And so I went to so basically the Lost and Found Office of Oddities is an organisation where the things that are found that no one knows what they are or what they do get sent to the Lost and Found Office of Oddities, and then the staff go out to the general public and ask them for their ideas as to what these strange and unusual objects are. So I set up this, I put it in the local newspaper and put posters up on lampposts. And then these are the staff. And these objects are sort of created. So I don't know what they are. No one knows what they are. But the staff will hold one up and say, this was found in Manchester behind a telephone box. What do you think it is? And who do you think used it? And, all these questions. And then I had a laptop and I was like noting down what the public was saying. So we went into like a home for the elderly and various sort of festivals. This is Emily lost it, Ian Watts it, and Francesca found it. Now, not many people notice these things, so it was the line between is this real or not real, and that's why I'm sort of reticent to talk about the making of, but anyway. So there's objects like this were found in Birmingham behind a Chinese restaurant, and what could these be for? These are glasses with little lights and a brush on the end. This is a wooden plate with a mirror. What could that be for? This is a very long key. Now I did a little video. There is a video. It doesn't have the sound, but I have put subtitle. We don't have sound here. But you can see it online. officeofodd.com is the website. It's also, we started on Instagram. But you can sort of see what some people came up with. The snowball maker. Oh, it does sound.
Well, I've got it. What did you want? Well, what it is just as tea bags were invented, they didn't have the strings on them. Yeah. So what they used to do is they clip it on that, pull it over the cup like that, and say, how many dips do you want? And you'd say, keep dipping, I need a bit
Brilliant.
more.
Yeah. So then you'd have your colour thing, wouldn't you? You said.
She was a receptionist in the local Ibis hotel that I was staying in, and she was really funny. And I said, do you want to come along to this event? And she went through all of the objects just with these crazy ideas. It was brilliant. It's just the creativity, is there. This is a project that helps bring it out of people. I'm jumping around. So this is 2012, the Olympics. I was commissioned to create a souvenir for East London, so I decided to make this record, which is called The Sound of Making in East London. And basically I went around 20 people who make things, from objects to food, all sorts of things, songs, and recorded the process of them making the thing. So this is Whitechapel Bell Foundry. There's a lot of the things I recorded have actually gone out of business. This was a hundreds of years old business. Sadly, went out of use, closed down a few years ago. So I recorded the sound of them tuning a bell. The bell turns, and they scrape off little bits of metal on the inside of a bell to change the tone, because a lot of villages have got different bells in one church, and they're all out of tune. So their job was to fix that. This is F. Cook. That's got a sound on this one. This has also gone out of business. This is on Broadway Market in Hackney. This is him basically working there, putting the metal cans down that the pies go into. This is John Hegley, who's a poet and he writes songs, so I recorded him writing a song. And then I just did all of wrote the things on the back. I'm going to have to go quickly now. The world's first art exhibition for dogs. I thought about what sort of art would dogs appreciate, and so I asked a number of illustrators to come up with ideas. This is a chicken drumstick forest. This is a simulator device. The final project, quite a big one, it took about 6 years, 7 years now. How to inspire the next generation of creative thinkers. So 2015, I got commissioned to do a project to reach 200 people, I think was the brief. Anyway, I had this idea of children in primary school have young children have this free imagination. What would happen if you connected that free imagination with people with skills who can make things? And so the idea was I did 19 workshops asking children, I showed them some of my ideas I have on a reverse listening device that swaps my ears over, the listening, to draw their own inventions, asked the children. Collected 600 invention ideas, put a call out to local makers, in glass or ceramics or plastics, to choose ideas that they would want to bring to life. The selected children, there was about 20, met with the different makers and learned a bit more of their skills and asked questions and communicated their idea. This is Oliver. He said when he's on his own, he does a good thing, he has no one to do a high five with, so he wanted a high five machine. This was made by Sunderland Fab Lab, who scanned in Oliver's hand, and you press a button and the hand moves forward like this. Children watch the news a lot. This is Charlotte, aged 11. She wanted something to take homes out of war zones. So lifting it up on wheels with a sort of protection blanket, an invisibility blanket, and to move the house out of the war zone. And this was turned into a beautiful model by Erin Dixon, who was an architect, and there's Charlotte there. And these objects got taken into the Victoria and Albert Museum's permanent collection. Because they really liked the project. Some of them you can see, like the next one I'm going to show at the new Children's Museum of the V&A, Museum of Childhood. So this one was Wendy. She said when she's scooting around, it's a bit boring. She wants to do it with the whole family. So this was brought to life by AMAP, which is an advanced automotive company. And then we've got an empty shop in Sunderland. There's lots of empty shops. Put my drawings on the front, and then we built an exhibition of the objects and as many drawings on the wall. I put it on the internet. It went viral around the world, really. We had TV companies like Discovery Channel or CNN International come in and interviewing the young people about their ideas. Many people came to the exhibition who'd never been to an exhibition before. I think the words art or design even are a bit intimidating to many people, but inventing, and it looks fun, and as children, so many people came. I got asked to speak at the United Nations about that's the family scooter there. And so I started to get asked by people around the world to do the same thing, so started Little Inventors as an ongoing organisation since 2016, and we've got a website where parents, teachers upload their invention ideas, and then we have a team of people who give positive feedback to all of the ideas to try and boost the confidence. I think creativity is mostly about self-confidence, boosting that up. I think this one was an idea of when an elderly person doesn't know, or a person with a visual impaired person is an arm comes out and sort of pushes them a little to encourage them across the road when it's on green. It's expanded when we were in China. This is a remote Chinese village doing the same thing. This is a Chinese idea. This is an idea of, it's a lollipop, and when you've finished your lollipop, you can brush your teeth with the stick. And finally, just a recent one. So we've done projects around the world, and it's still ongoing. And there's various books. There's various books that you can buy, basically, which I forgot to show here. But finally, we've just done a recent one, which is on show now. This is about energy and wind power, and the idea was from James to use the Angel of the North, which is a famous, sculpture in the northeast, and to use his the wings as wind turbines. So I've been in my studio at home making the Angel of the North wind power turbine. And that's it.